Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao-Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Thubten Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, Mahachundi Buddha Mother. Sumo Tanchen Katso Tutzen City. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and spiritual centers, all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Hi, Steru. Sarange.
Hola, amigo.
Hola, amigo.
Te quiero mucho.
Te quiero mucho.
Sukoin.
Sukoin.
Ichiba.
Ichiba.
Kimochi.
Kimochi.
Jumi.
Jumi.
Yapi.
Yapi.
Bling bling.
Bling bling.
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Today, we practice Mahachundi Buddha Mother. In the past, I often chanted with palms folded in reverence. I take refuge in the society and homage to the Mother of Seven Kodis Buddhas, Mahachundi. So Mahachundi, Buddha Mother. I take refuge in the society, Sutra of Precepts, which means the first palms folded. Take refuge in the society. Society was spoken by the Buddha about precepts. So we take refuge in the precepts. Because the Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha, before he was about to leave the world, Ananda asked the Buddha, after you leave the world, whom should we take refuge in? And the Buddha replied, take refuge in the precepts. So siddhi means precepts or moral ethics. Therefore, abiding by the precepts is of utmost importance. Homage to the Mother of the Seven Kodis Buddhas, Mahachundi. So homage to the Buddha Mother, Mahachundi. Who spoke this? Master Pufang. I took refuge in Master Pufang, and he was one of my guru. So at the Shezi Dao, a place in Taiwan, there was a
里面
Zhongci temple there that was built by Master Pu Fang, which enshrined Jundi Buddha Mother. So Jundi was the yidam of Master Pu Fang. Very simple.
那么他的这个菩萨的力量非常的大，
So
所以
the power of the Bodhisattva is extremely
你们知道
tremendous.
金刚号
And she had 2 Vajra names. If you know, please raise your hand. The most victorious.
还有一个呢，最胜金刚。
So the most victorious Vajra,
最胜金刚
because she had a great majestic
跟
power,
清净，
and the pure Vajra.
所以以这一尊做本尊的，
So those who
比方
have this deity as yidam,
这个大准提佛母作为他的本尊，
Master Pu Fang had Mahajundi as his yidam,
清净
pure
又是最胜，
and most victorious.
他有很大的这个 power。
And she had tremendous power.
今天呢，我觉得我感觉到这个坐在这个法座上，
Today, seated here on this Dharma throne, my eyes
从头到尾
just
差不多都闭起来。
shut all from beginning to end. I couldn't keep them open.
但是感觉到
I felt, although my eyes were shut,
灵光
I felt that the
闪耀
spiritual energy, the spiritual light is very
灵气
radiant
一阵一阵灵气一阵一阵
and sparkling, and the spiritual energy is
大准提佛
layers upon layers. So I hope all of you will receive the blessings by the Mahajundi Buddha Mother.
刚刚我们看了这个
Just now we
增波
watch
业障
the
因为现在是
DB Boye or the True Buddha Prajna website.
由增活波业障来出版
Now all of Grandmaster
来
books,
出书
Grandmaster's books are published by this True Buddha Prajna
由他来
website.
筹一切
So they take
但这个
take care of
时间呢
all of
要
them.
出版书
And during this pandemic,
销售的出去
continue to publish books and able to market them is quite incredible. Nobody goes anywhere.
疫情时间呢
It's pandemic.
出门呢就在家里
Everybody stays home.
那谁会去书局买书呢？很多书局
Is there anyone going to the bookshop
没办法开
buying books? Many bookshops are closed all over the world.
有规定书店可以开门吗？
Was it specified if bookstores are open
谁知
or
道？
can be open?
好像是加油站一定要开，
I think like gas stations,
超市一定要开，
groceries, supermarkets, and what more?
我们华盛顿州
In the state of Washington,
医院要开，
hospitals,
医院要开，
well, of course,
银行、
banks,
邮局、
post office,
书
How about bookstores?
没有听过。
I haven't heard that.
但是奇怪的是，
But interestingly,
这个疫情时间啊，
during the
师尊
pandemic,
的书啊，
Grandmaster's
销得比以
books
前还好。
sell even better than before.
这可能跟那个周慧芳律师这个在这个宣传有关。
It must be related to her publicity, which is very effective. Because nowadays, if you don't market it, then you are out of business. So if you don't publicize the books, then you would be out of business. But we cannot put all the responsibility on Dharma Sister Jennifer Tze alone. All of us should do our parts. Every True Buddha School disciple should introduce every book that's published by the TB Boye or True Buddha Prajna website.
在还没有说法开始以前
And before the Dharma teaching, I would like to start with a joke. The wife asked the husband, "Hey honey, are you often be nostalgic of the beautiful time of the past?" And the husband replied, "Yes." And the wife asked, "Which part, which time?" The husband replied, "Oh, the period before I knew you." Nobody laughed, so let me tell another joke.
小钱跟小王讲，
Xiao Qian told Xiao Wang,
站在你有的窗下，
"Last night I
他唱情歌，
sang love songs under the window of my girlfriend,
扔给我
and my
一
girlfriend
束花。
threw me a bouquet of flowers."
哇，小王讲，
And Xiao Wang said,
那你头上的伤是怎么一回事？
"So what happened to the wound on your head, though?"
哦，
And then Xiao Jin
我的女
replied,
朋友忘
"Oh,
了
because my
把
girlfriend
花从
forgot
花盆里面取
to
出来。
take out the flowers from the flower pot."
这个笑话也不错。
The
但
joke's
是
not
我们
bad.
要会意，很多事情我们都是要
So many things
知道它里
we
面
need
的
to
内涵，
know the
才会
meaning
感觉到好笑。
before we find it funny.
这个台湾有
台湾
金蝉，
有金蝉，
金蝉，
莲花金蝉 asked the question.
有金
台湾
莲花金蝉，弟子莲花金蝉，恭请师佛开讲
Hua Jin-chan asked Grandmaster to could please elaborate on Hevajra. The function of the 8 beasts inside the 8 kapalas held by Hevajra's 8 right hands. What are their functions in performing the ritual? Grandmaster, in your book on exposition on Hevajra, you describe the functions of the 8 gods inside the kapalas held by Hevajra's 8 left hands, but not a word on the beasts on the right. So, the white elephant, blue-green horse, red donkey, red ox, gray camel, blue-green lion, red cat. What are their functions and what should we do in rituals with regard to them? Because we know Hevajra is easy to recognize. Hevajra's hands are all holding kapala. Only Hevajra is holding kapalas. And the 4 Tibetan sects who highly revere Hevajra and uphold him is the Sakya sect. So the Sakya school highly revere Hevajra. Lamdre also talks about Hevajra. White elephant, dark blue-green wind horse, red donkey, red ox, gray camel, blue-green lion, and red cat. What are their functions and what should we do in ritual with regards to them? Well, let me ask all of you here. Anybody knows about this 8 kinds of divine beast? Anybody? There are 8 gods and 8 animals or beasts. Hevajra has a total of 16 hands, and they are carrying white elephant, yellow heaven and earth, dark blue-green horse, white water god, red donkey, red fire god, red ox, blue-green wind god, gray camel, white moon night, red person, red sun day or daytime, blue-green lion, blue-green king of hell, red cat, and yellow wealth bestower. 16 hands holding this, and they all have their own symbols. And the 8 beasts are the white elephant, blue-green wind horse, red donkey, red ox, gray camel, blue-green lion, and red cat. Actually, the simplest explanation is you don't need to perform the Dharma practice using them one by one.
其实它的八兽最主要的意义就是说，
The most important meaning of the 8 beasts is
你只要学会洗金刚，
if you master the Hevajra, these 8 animals will support you. So you're protected from the invasion from wild beasts. The Hevajra practitioners, if you invoke Hevajra, when you're in the wilderness and encounter wild beasts, none of them would be able to invade or attack you. So, in other words, they can subdue or control all sorts of wild beasts, of ferocious beasts. The most ferocious one here is the lion, the most vicious. Someone said that why during each Olympic Games the fastest runners are the Africans, because they start from young running away from the lion's chase. So lions are the most incredible. And something interesting, if you tell your wife, I want to go to Africa to hunt tigers, and knowledgeable wives would know there are no tigers in Africa. They only have lions in Africa, no tigers. So, Ambassador Liao, did you ever stay in Africa? Well, I guess you wouldn't know if there are no tigers there. There are no tigers in Africa, but there are lions there. You know, in Tibet, there are lions. There are lions in Tibet, and we often call them the snow lions, or the lions from the snowy mountains. So, white elephant is also quite fierce. Groups of elephants. The blue-green wind horse, that is very swift, very quick. So, donkeys, which is a cross between horse and a mule, and an ox, and ox is also strong and ferocious, especially the what's it called? The rhinos, and then camel, and red cat. Anybody knows what red cat is? Never seen a red cat. Anyone has seen a red cat before? Nobody. In sum,
正一切的恶兽，正一切的恶兽。
He will be able to subdue all kinds of wild beasts.
这个红牛16只18倍，16倍，16倍。
So 16
16个手背
arms and 16 hands. It doesn't mean that you practice each one of the arm, but if you gain spiritual union with Havajra, then naturally you would be able to have the power of the 8 gods and 8 beasts. And like this, animals can control or subdue all kinds of other wild beasts. Just the lion or the ox or rhinos, a kind of ox too, right? The kinds of cow. There are many kinds of oxen. So that's what means 16 hands. And they can eradicate all sorts of illnesses, can defeat all sorts of wild beasts, bestow all kinds of wealth, and can prove the attainment of the 8 great self-masteries and command over heaven and earth, moon and sun and moon. They are not for a Dharma practice. So just the general function of all the 8 gods and 8 animals to eradicate all sorts of illnesses, defeat all sorts of wild beasts, bestow all kinds of wealth, attain the 8 great self-mastery, and command over heaven and earth and the sun and moon. And his second question, the red person inside the Kapala, what is it used for? What does this person represent? What kind of Dharma do you need to do? He's always talking about the ritual to apply. What does this person represent? A beast person, wild person, a wizard, a sadhaka, or any special meaning? So let me tell you what the red person means. Okay, Master knows. This red person is especially used for subjugation ritual. The person who does subjugation ritual. In Tantrayana, there is the so-called red offering. What is the red offering? Anybody knows? Nobody raises his hand. What will happen if I cannot say? Red offering is an offering that is red. That means it's an offering of blood. You use an animal blood as an offering. So when you make an offering to a Heruka and you perform the subjugation ritual, so you offer the 5 meats and 5 nectars, and they include blood. 5 meats include an offering of the red blood, and the 5 nectars also include blood. That's the red offering. What is red offering for? For subjugation. And the red person is the person who is performing the subjugation ritual or the wizardry or casting spells. So a special meaning. The red person inside the Kabbalah. The person who is especially, it doesn't mean that you do that. It's that by your practice of Hevajra, you would be able to use Hevajra to perform subjugation. So that's my answer to Taiwan Liu Jin Chan, Lianhua Jin Chan. So you can, Hevajra can be used to perform rituals, and he has 8 gods and 8 animals to help you practice. You're not using the 8 gods and 8 animals to practice them one by one. But the 8 gods and 8 animals will help you. Like you would be able to eradicate people's all kinds of illnesses or sicknesses, defeat all kinds of wild beasts, bestow all kinds of wealth and riches, and prove the attainment of the 8 great self-masteries, and command over heaven and earth, sun and moon, because the gods of the sun and moon are included. One time when I was tapping on someone's back, continually from his mouth, they said ah and vomited a dog. It's not a true dog, of course, not a real dog, but Grandmaster saw a dog was spat out from his mouth, and then I told him that he would recover. Only a few days ago, a woman actually, a Thai woman, I tapped on her back, and then she and vomited a dog. So there was a spirit of a dog on her body. And I knew after the dog was spat out, like Luke's daughter, after I pat on her back, she also vomited. Oh, and there was a shadow came out from her body. There was a spirit on her body. And that Thai lady, she's vomited a dog, so a dog spirit attached to her body. So after patting on them, like Luke's daughter recovered. And that Thai lady, I also told her that you would be fine. And then in addition also give her a fu or talisman. Then she would sleep well. She would not have any more problem being attached by spirits. So you can eradicate all kinds of illnesses and defeat all kinds of wild beasts, like, the dog spirit attaching to a human body that should not be allowed. from Taiwan, Lianhua Dongmu. Grandmaster, in your book number 50, compilation on wrathful Herukas, you wrote that in the future you would explicate on the Dharma practices of Kumarakadeva, Lotus youth and Pingala youth. Now you have expounded on Kumarakadeva, which was Dorje Purba, and Lotus child, which was Padmakumara. In the future, will you also expound on Pingala? Thank you. Lianhua Dongmu asked, Pingala child or youth, I have transmitted. I transmitted the lotus leaf youth that was transmitted to Lei Feng Pei from Malaysia, and he's been ordained as a monk now. So Pingala is the same as the lotus leaf youth, and he was born he was the beloved son of Hariti, the mother ghost. He's also called Pingala Deva. In the Tantrayana Vajradhatu Mandala, at the outer quarters of the 20 heavens, he's at the south. The form of Samaya is fire blaze. You have to offer special things to him. Cheese. So, cheese rice, sweet nuts, sweet and crispy nuts, and zampa, like delicious balls offered according to the Dharma. Sprinkle agar wood water and chant the Dharani 100,000 times. Then the youth or the child Pingala will appear. If one upholds this Dharma, evil gods and ghosts will never invade. How do you chant the mantra? That's the mantra, 100,000 times. And you have to carve his form. He has many hair knots on his head. He is the look of a child One hand is holding an auspicious fruit, and the other hand is wish bestowing, seated on a lotus leaf. Sometimes you can just use one hand knot to represent his youth or child. To represent him. He's seated on a lotus leaf, one hand holding an auspicious fruit, and the other hand is the wish bestowing mudra. And on his head there are 5 knots. He looks amiable and perfect, wearing all kinds of ornaments, sitting cross-legged on a lotus leaf. His right hand is holding an auspicious fruit, and the left hand is the perfecting the wish. Lotus leaf youth has what kind of function? If he appears, he would answer any question you ask. He would answer you. Now, during our Dharma practice, spiritual cultivation, this is considered a worldly Dharma practice, because with question and answer, that's typically it's about worldly affairs, about samsara. He can help you, like if you are a fortune teller and you enshrine the lotus leaf youth, and if someone asks a question, then you ask the lotus leaf youth, and then he would answer, and then you can tell the person coming. So he can provide you answers. But it's not like this question and answers during this Dharma talks. But lotus leaf youth can tell you. If you enshrine the lotus leaf youth, you have to accumulate virtues and merits and fortunes. Only by having those you would have attainments in your spiritual cultivation. Then it would be easier for you to ask lotus leaf youth to appear. It is rather easy because he belongs to the realm of the devas, the heavenly gods. Hariti is the mother god, the ghostly mother god. Her name. Pingala. So the mantra Om Pecha Pili Inja Soha. So calling on his name. He is the son of Hariti. I have transmitted this Dharma practice to Li Hongpei. So I have transmitted it. But this Dharma practice is an ordinary worldly Dharma practice, not the ultimate Dharma. And typically what I transmit is the ultimate, the out-of-worldly Dharma. If you want to learn a worldly Dharma, you can come and receive the transmission personally. That's my answer to Lian Hua Dong Mu from Taiwan. Now do you understand? Oh, next asked by Taiwan, Xi Wanchen. This name's not bad. It's not Xi Wan, Xi Yan.
喜宴城，喜宴城，这个城啊是一个宝盖，一个星辰的辰，一个宝盖星辰的辰，读作什么
How do you pronounce this character?
这个字读作什么？辰啊，反正有边无边，无边读中间。有边读边，无边读中间，它中间是一个辰。
So when you read the Chinese character, if this with a radical, you read the side.
叫做喜宴词。
It's a clear word of the Chinese words. It sounds like.
在往后的开示说法中
in your Dharma teaching, can you elaborate about Atisha's most supreme Dharma of all paths?
阿底峡尊者在所有的佛法当中啊，最殊胜的法是什么？内容是什么？
What is the most supreme Dharma of all paths of Atisha?
在佛法中最殊胜的法是什么？
What is it? Atisha's most supreme Dharma of all Dharma, generating bodhicitta.
你导师厉害哦。
Oh, very good. You're right.
因为啊。 很多人问阿底峡尊者
Because many people ask Atisha, Guru Atisha, disciples under you or all Buddhist practitioners encountering him. Anytime he mentioned about his guru, he would join his palms with reverence. Every time you mention his guru, he would join his palms. And Guru Atisha has many gurus, not just one guru. He's learned from many gurus. So Atisha had many gurus like Grandmaster Lu. The most often mentioned are 4 gurus. The Venerable Monk Liao-Ming, Master Sakya Tsung Kong, His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, Master Thubten Dorji. So every time prior to a Dharma teaching, Grandmaster would highly revere these gurus. But Grandmaster has other teachers, like gurus from Mahayana Buddhism. But every time his guru was mentioned, he would join his palms to show his respect. But every time Guru Sarlingpa was mentioned, not only did he join his palms, he would put his palms on top of his head. So that's different. Anytime any of his gurus mentioned, he'd join his palms. But when Guru Sarlingpa was mentioned, he would place his palms on top of his head. That's the special characteristic of Atisha. Have you heard of this? Anytime Guru Salingpa was mentioned in front of him, he would put his joined palms above his head, because Guru Salingpa was his most revered of all his gurus. He revered Guru Salingpa the most, which was the Guru Salingpa that was in Jambi, Indonesia. He went there to study for 12 years together with Guru Salingpa. The Venerable Atisha highly revere Guru Salingpa the most, because Guru Salingpa transmitted the Dharma practice of generating bodhicitta to the Venerable Atisha. I just mentioned, what is the bodhicitta? That include the vow bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, the ultimate bodhicitta. 3 kinds of bodhicittas, and they are different. In the beginning, when you make the vow of bodhicitta, you want to study Buddhism, practice Buddhism. Sakyamuni Buddha and Atisha once said, without a compassionate heart to perform all Dharma, including adverse Dharma, there is no meaning. If you practice or perform any Dharma practices without compassionate heart, it is meaningless. Sakyamuni Buddha also said that without compassionate heart, any Dharma that you do is meaningless. Without compassionate heart, your tantric practice is meaningless. So anyone that does not generate bodhicitta, any of their practice is meaningless. This is very important. If you still jealous, you still envious, you still have a heart of jealousy, envy, hatred, and despise, then any Dharma practice that you do is meaningless. Very important. Bodhicitta. Vow bodhicitta. I said it last night. Equality between self and others. All sentient beings are equal. Doesn't matter who they are. Friends and foes, loved ones and enemies, people that you hate or people that you despise, people that you love, people that are close and far are all equal. You should generate this kind of mindset first. Only then you would be able to help and deliver sentient beings. Otherwise, how can you do? You only help your loved ones. And those without affinities, you will not help. And especially people that you hate or dislike. That's wrong. Compassionate heart is equal, is indiscriminate. Therefore, equality between friends and foes, and equality between self and others. This is what Guru Salingpa taught the Venerable Atisha. Second, exchanging your place with others. When you hurt someone, think about this. I'm the one that's being harmed. Do you want to do that to yourself? No, you don't bear to do it. Then you wouldn't do it to the other person too. Then you would generate compassion. So the most important thing Guru Serlingpa taught Atisha was exchanging place with others, putting yourself in other people's shoes. When you want to hurt or harm someone, you exchange place with them. Then you become the other party. How would it be when after that person is being harmed or hurt? Once you master this, you would forgive other people. Then you would generate your compassion, exchanging yourself with others. Let me tell you why Buddhism advocates a vegetarian. And not about the impure pork, the adulterated pork. You wouldn't dare to eat a Taiwanese pork. You know, you raise them and then you slaughter them, lots of animals. Do the animals want to die? Before, when you bring a pig to the slaughterhouse, the pig would cry all the way, and the cows are crying. And when they get to the slaughterhouse, they would struggle, and they shed tears, and the lambs too. Although in Tantric Buddhism, we don't necessarily eat vegetarian food, but Buddhists eat vegetarian food out of their compassion, or to develop their compassion, because all 6 rebirth realms are sentient beings. The hell, animals, hungry ghosts, human, asura, heavenly, are all part of sentient beings. You need to be compassionate toward all of them. Therefore, Mahayana Buddhism advocates vegetarian food, but Tantric Buddhism allows meat eating. Why? Because before we eat, we help them, we bardo deliver them. You need to chant and bardo deliver them. You chant the deliverance mantra to bardo deliver them. You chant the Buddha's name. And because you practice chi channels and light drops, you need to eat those meat to nurture your own chi. But before you eat them, you need to make offering to perform bardo deliverance. So it's giving liberation to them, to their spirits. It's also a way to liberate their spirits. And before you eat a beef, you deliver the spirit of the cows to the Pure Land, the Buddha land. Before you eat pork, you deliver the pig to the Buddha land. Before you eat fish, you also bear to deliver the fish to the Buddha land. When Grandmaster raised a plate of food above my eyebrows, why? It's to bear to deliver them. So You cannot eat without performing bardo deliverance. That would be wrong. So for a tantric practitioner, you have to bardo deliver the cows, the pigs, the lambs, the fish, anything that you eat. You have to bardo deliver them. You have to blow your breath on them. So Guru Salingpa taught the Venerable Atisha the practice of generating bodhicitta. And the Venerable Atisha's most important dharma is bodhicitta generation. And he highly or most revere Guru Salingpa. And Guru Salingpa transmitted to him exchanging between yourself and others and treating yourself and others equally. And the ultimate bodhicitta, which is an unexcelled bodhicitta, bodhicitta of the great perfection. Extremely great. So that's to answer the question to Shen Ching from Taiwan. So the greatest, the most supreme dharma of Atisha is generating bodhicitta and equality between self and others and exchanging yourself with others. Two kinds of wisdom are embodied in this. First one is the wisdom of equal nature, and the other one is the wisdom of great perfection, mirror-like great perfection wisdom. So the Venerable Atisha's most supreme dharma of all dharma is generating bodhicitta. My friends ask me, "You're so fat. When are you going to lose weight?" And the chubby girl replied, "I have no mood for it." And the friend asked, "When will you be in the mood?" And he said, "When I'm eating." Then how can she lose weight? I went to the dollar shop or $10 shop in Taiwan to buy things, and the boss said, "Anything is for $10. You can pick anything and you can leave." Someone was really happy, took a $10 coin on the table and didn't say anything, and then took the beautiful daughter of the boss. So you have to be clear. We also have a dollar shop here, right? How many dollars? $1? Xiaoming asked mom, "Do ghosts only come out at night?" And the mom replied, "Sure." "Why? They don't appear in the daytime?" And the mom replied, "Because the ghosts are afraid of the sun, maybe." And Xiaoming replied, "The ghosts are afraid of the sun?" And the mom said, "Yeah." "Oh, so are the ghosts made of ice then?" It doesn't matter what it's made of. Now let me talk a little bit about Lamdre. What time is it now? 10:15. Instruction on the path of abandoning personal gain. The so-called instruction on the path of abandoning personal gain is in the verse, in quotes, attainments, etc., end quote. Attainments refer to the 4 goals and 5 bodies, etc. The verse, in quote, knowing that it is self-arising, end quote, means one knows that although it is self-arising from the start of affinity, gathering of the 10 dakas, dakinis of one's own mind, one knows that it comes from the personal transmission and instruction of the Guru. The, in quotes, know in the verse means one's subsequent spiritual experience appears as what is thought about in the mind. When one knows this, the verse stated, in quote, abandon the mind of seeking, end quote, meaning all attainments come from one's own practice. It arises from the start of affinity of the body and mind, and by abandoning the manifestation body of the Buddhas in the outer circumstances, one hopes for attainment. This excerpt means if you don't have attainments, you would never know. After you have attainments, then you will know these things. What is the most important meaning here? Attainments or CDs are not given to you from outside. The attainments or CDs are not given to you from outside. Attainments come from your own inner mind, your own body, from your own body, speech, and mind, not given from outside, not given by the yidam. So don't think that I was so dumb before, Golden Mother. I don't want to practice anything. Just give me an immortality pill. Since you want me to deliver sentient beings, I want to know everything. I don't want to practice them one by one. You're my yidam, just give me a pill, an immortality pill. Then I would become a sage by eating it. Then what practice should I do? Then I would be so carefree and attain the 8 great self-masteries. The 5 great self-masteries, I'll have them all. Then it would be easy for me. Why do I have to work so hard to chant and practice every day? Just give me a pill, then I can salvage the world. That's the meaning of this whole piece. Attainments don't come from the outside. Attainments are the attainments of your self-nature that you understand. You self-understand. You radiate light, your self-nature. So you abandoned all those to gain the path. and you yourself have the attainment, not from the outside. So you have the attainments of the 4 goals and 5 kayas, 5 bodies. So the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nimanakaya, and the ultimate kaya, and then the most supreme kayas, the 5 different kayas or bodies. You know that it is self-arising. You attain it yourself. You know that your mind and the cultured or cultivated qi. So, and the 10 dakas and dakinis arise due to the start of affinity. So what are the 10 dakas and dakinis? The white body, red body, fire and water. And then with the mind and the qi. One knows that it comes from the personal transmission and instruction from the Guru. And the know in the verse means that one's subsequent spiritual experience appears as what is thought of in the mind. Know, this knowing is after you have attainments through your spiritual cultivation, you know that it is through your body. The power that is generated by the body. When one knows this, the verse stated, abandon the mind of seeking, then you would know. There's no need to seek or to ask for anything. Golden Mother, give me the immortality pill. Please, I want to eat it. Then I would become a sage. Please. You know, you teach me to form the mudras. Let me just close my eyes and you form them for me. You want to subdue the maras. Why don't you just send a Vajra protector or Heruka and help me to subdue them? Then that's called the mind of seeking. Now you know. The mind of seeking. Meaning all attainments come from one's own practice. So you practice them. It arises from the start of affinity of the body and mind. So the body and your mind, your thoughts, the result of your practice of the body and mind, and abandoning the manifestation body of the Buddhas in the outer circumstances. So you abandon or be apart from any outer anything. And the verse, in quote, abandon the mind of making or creating. In the beginning, you do that. Like fire offering. That's making up, you know. Or offerings, offering items. They are all intended making and similar other behaviors. Abandon all actions of the external realm, such as offerings to the celestial beings, offering items, homa, and other similar, creating or making things. When you perform Dharma practices, many Dharma practices are creation. You know, when you offer to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, would she really come and eat those food? No, it's just to train your mind. So every night we make an offering. So food that you're about to eat, offered. So all the Buddhas seated on the lotuses would really come and eat those food. All the heavenly beings have scrumptious, delicious food to eat. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have attainments already, and they want to eat stuff from the samsara, bread and pizza. And tonight we had all kinds of pizzas. They want to eat those pizzas? Think about it. Those are food from a human food from the Saha world. You think it's good. Like tonight, Master Dehui ate 5 pieces. Master Dehui said, "Oh, it's rare to have 5 pieces of 5 huge pieces. Oh, weren't you stuffed? Oh well, it's rare food. I'll take care of the calorie later." But all the Buddhas here, will they eat those pizzas? Those are creating, it's just to symbolize your mind, your sincerity, and you offer, including your heart, into the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Like when we perform fire offering or homa, it's just a ritual. But what is the attainment? What is that has the attainment is the mind. It's intangible. But is it equal not to do any of those? Then how can you generate the mind? Because when you do it, you are in full concentration. You concentrate. When you form the mudras, you want to visualize those mudras. Those are symbols. When you practice and meditate, you start with all the symbols, the outer thing, and then you move to the inner world, inner practices, the chi, mai, and channels. Chi channels and light drops. And then eventually you have attainments, then you know that all those things are just for the sake. But once you have attainment, it is the intrinsic naturalness. Once you have attainments, everything is intrinsically natural, not the regular natural. These few days in Seattle, it's wet and cold. So please wear appropriately so that you don't catch cold. There's a benefit wearing masks. You feel warm, not as cold. Wearing hats and masks and coats. In this weather, anything outside the bed is far. Things that your hand cannot reach is overseas. If you go to the bathroom, it's like on a business trip. If you get out of the bed, it's like going abroad. Even if you go to the backyard, it's like going overseas. Even when the boyfriend runs away, you would not chase after him. It's just too cold. In theory, let me tell you,
Christmas and Happy New Year.
In theory, Santa Claus is here already. because he has to have tests and then 14-day self-isolation. It's quite hard for him to arrive on Christmas Day. Home from work, I saw a 3-year-old son playing in the living room. I was very happy and said, "Hey honey, look who's coming home." And this little brat shouted toward the kitchen and said, "Grandma, my dad has become an idiot. He didn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he is." That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.